wasn't easy on the farm in the beginning. Now, we were people of big, big vision. We were idealists. We wanted to change the world. We really believed we could change the world by saving this one little farm, putting it back into production, and seeing if we could get people who don't have connection with the land to think about where their food comes from, to connect with the farm. We had all these big ideas, but my, it was hard. It was hard in the beginning. But we worked on, and I remember a time when I felt that second big calling that I was doing what I was supposed to do. The first time was being a wingman and killing the goat. But the second time was one day, 6 years later, in 2001, when I was at the Piedmont Triad Farmers Market, early in the morning. I was all set up. Things were going to start, but it was early. Got to get there early, set up. The sun was rising. It was time for a little reflection. And I was thinking about all the struggles we'd been through and how hard it had been. And I remembered and wondering, if it was really worth it all, if it was going to really come together. And I remembered the very beginning of us doing this crazy goat farm, making goat cheese. When we went to all the ag experts we could find, one after another, and we said what we thought was just this reasonable thing. We want to start a goat milk dairy and milk goats and make goat cheese in Randolph County, North Carolina in 1995. And for some strange reason, all these ag experts, whenever we would say that, it was like I was up here being a comedian or something. They would just laugh. They'd say, you got to be crazy. It's the craziest idea. Nobody is interested in goat cheese, Randolph County. You're nuts. You should just go the other way. Well, for me and my sister and my wife doing this crazy family business back to the land thing, that was like waving a red flag in front of a bull. You tell me I can't do it and go that way, I'm going to. So we persisted. But that was a little discouraging. And then there was other discouragements, like, sometimes the cheese wasn't just right. You'd make it along day after day. I was the cheese maker, and it'd be pretty good. You'd make it again, pretty good. You keep doing it the very same way. And then some days you'd go in and taste the cheese you'd made the day before, and it would be disgusting. And what happened? I did everything the same way, and you just get horribly discouraged, and you think, I don't know if I know what I'm doing, and you'd just be ready to give up. And then you would remember that there's somebody who would like that cheese just the way it was. So you put it in a container, this cheese, and you go out the front door of the dairy, and there they'd be, all lined up in the chicken pen, waiting to get it. Chickens love cheese. Chickens love experimental cheese, like that disgusting stuff was. And so I went and I throw the cheese to them, and they eat it all up, and they look at me and go. And it gives me the courage to go back in and try again, because you know what? The secret of really good cheese is making a lot of not very good cheese and learning each time. So that was hard, but we recovered. And then I remembered that when we first started going to market with this goat cheese that I was making, I learned this amazing thing. I learned that there really are only two kinds of people in the world. The first kind, which is the vast majority, fortunately, are people who come and they go, oh, you're making goat cheese in Randolph County? Look at your pictures of those beautiful goats. You made this cheese? You made this cheese? Goat cheese? And they would take this goat cheese and they would taste it and they would say these famous words. Oh my God. That is the most delicious cheese I've ever had. And they'd run and they'd get their friend that they were at the market with, and they'd bring them over and say, oh, you got to taste this cheese. This is so wonderful. And then they'd start going to strangers and saying, come, you got. And these are called gushers. And fortunately for us, the vast majority of people, who many of them had never had goat cheese, really liked our cheese. But then there was this other kind of person that came to the market every now and then. And they'd come up and say, well, son, what are you selling this morning? And you would say, proud as punch, well, this is goat cheese, ma'am, that I made on my farm in Randolph County. And they'd step back and they'd say, what did you say? Oh, this is goat cheese, ma'am, I made on my farm. Goat cheese? You are bringing goat cheese? You would think I was offering them skunk milk. For whatever reason, it was, and those people are called yuckers. So there's only two kinds, gushers and yuckers. Now, but I sort of got over that, the discouragement of the yuckers, because I discovered that about 63%, to my best reckoning, of the yuckers were malleable. Okay, so what I'd say is, sir, have you ever tried goat cheese? Well, no, but goat cheese. I said, well, I'm not sure, but it might be that if you tried it on this nice little cracker here, and take this kind here, it's my favorite kind everybody likes, you might like it. Would you please just try it? Right? Now there's a risk involved there, right? Because the other percentage of, you know where I'm going with that. So I give it to you, and you go, well, okay, and you put it in your mouth, and lo and behold, right in front of my very eyes, I turned a yucker into a gusher. And so this guy goes, oh, Harry, come over here. You got to taste this damn goat cheese, Harry. It's good. So that was encouraging, that you could actually turn a yucker into a gusher. But it had been hard. It had been hard. And so I was just wondering, is it really worth it? Has it really been worth it all? I thought about the goats who had given their lives in our long learning curve. Because you just don't do things right in the beginning, and a few of them have to, die in order for you to learn. Well, don't do that again. And so you learn, you get better. So just about that time, the first market customers started coming, and I saw coming down the line Michelle and Little Tom. Now, Michelle and Little Tom had a very special role in my story of my calling to be a goat cheese dairy farmer, because Michelle had been one of my very first customers at the farmer's market. And here's the deal. She came right out the first week. She opened her mouth, and she was British. She had this beautiful English accent. She just moved to America with her husband who had a new job. They live in Greensboro. And she said, hello. I can't do a British accent. She said, hello, I'm Michelle. Just handmade goat cheese. You make it. We struck up a conversation. I thought, this is it. This is the big test. Because Michelle is a European. Right? And everybody knows that Europeans know what really good handmade artisan cheese is like. Americans at that point, they didn't know squat about good handmade cheese because we didn't have any in this country. So I thought, this is the test. So I worked very carefully with her. I asked her to try my cheese, and she really liked it. And so, she came every single week and bought cheese. We became good friends. She got pregnant, and she came every week, and then one week she didn't come. I said, I know exactly what's happening. She's having that baby. 2 weeks later, she came with Little Tom. And I met Little Tom when he was only 2 weeks old, and he came every week with her for all those 6 years. Now here they were, 6 years later. Little Tom by this time is, growing up. He's a big guy, big boy, 6-year-old. Big enough now that he can come and get his own samples off the table. When he was little, of course, Mom's giving it to him. When he was a little bit bigger, but still a toddler, sometimes I wouldn't even see him at first. I'd just see this hand come up over the table and reach and he'd get a sample and he would go down. But now he's big enough, he's standing there, right? So Michelle's talking to the other farmer next. Tom comes over by himself. It's still quiet, a little early. He's a little shy, but now it's just him and me. He's working his way through all the samples that he did every week to try to figure out what he would buy this week, what he would ask Mom to buy. And he was just savoring it and enjoying it. And he noticed that there wasn't anybody else except just the two of us. And he took a bite of cheese and he enjoyed it. And then he looked straight in my face with his beautiful blue eyes and he said these wonderful words. He said, "Thank you, Farmer Steve, for making me such wonderful cheese." Well, that was when I knew that I had done the right thing. To leave that cushy urban life to do this crazy goat cheese farming thing with this vision of linking people who don't know about the farm and have no relationship with the farm, a real farm. Because here's the deal, friends. Little Tom, Now, he's a young man now, but in 2001, when he said that to me, he thought everybody had their own cheesemaker, because that was the world he had grown up in. He thought everybody knew their own farmer, because he had been out to the farm, he'd met the goats, I've even shown him how he made the cheese. He just thought that was the most natural thing, that he knew the person that made his cheese. So it was little Tom and that experience that made me feel like, keep at it, it's only going to get better, and helped us realize our mission statement, which became, after that experience, this simple idea. When you change a person's relationship to their food, you change them and the world together. So thank you, Double Bonus, and thank you for little Tom for giving me a new calling.